We're really bad at this. Rough
I'm so
start,
good.
but we're matching.
We are matching. I followed your lead. I just want to see. I just want to see if I can get the screens to go back to normal.
Yeah, we should have practiced this. Sorry, everyone.
I mean, I feel like a little chaos in the live is
Yeah,
what it's all
it's my
about.
brand. Chaos.
Yeah. Why? I wonder if it's the one next to the infinity symbol then. But that's co-host. Yeah, we should be. Do you know what? We might just have to do it like this. But I feel like I'm going to change the view because I think people would rather see you than see me.
Thank
Um, well, it's an interview about you guys, not an interview about me. Thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you for having me. You've been such like a beacon of like humor and hope and light in what's been, kind of a messy month. So like a lot of my friends have been sending me your videos and it's
I
just
saw one of
been,
your friends had commented. Was that the same friend that saw Chris with his girlfriend?
oh gosh, no, that was my neighbor. That
Oh,
was
'cause I was gonna say if that was the same friend, like that bitch gets everywhere.
no, I know. I'm sure we'll get there. Can you hear me? Should I put in my AirPods?
I can hear you
But
fine.
I'm sure we'll get there. But that was such a weird coincidence that I found out that I was like, are they still filming? Because this seems like something that's set up by production that like I actually found out because someone else saw him. And it was one of those moments where I was like, what is real life right now?
Well,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
that was just a weird
we are going to
coincidence.
come on to it, but we're talking about it now, so you might as well just tell us how you found out now. We'll start off on a juicy note, and then we'll.
Yeah, so I'm getting weird feedback. Sorry, maybe I should put my headphones in. I took my dog out one day. Oh God, this is gonna be such a complicated story. I took my dog out one day and I saw my friend, um, who was also my neighbor, and he was asking me out for drinks, and I was like, I actually have a boyfriend, because we were pretty good friends at this point, and he was like, wait, why isn't it on your social media? And I was like, well, I can't share him. Like, I was trying not to give too many details, but I was like, I can't, like, we just haven't gone public with it yet. Talking about Chris. And then he was like, well, who is it? And I was like, his name is Chris. And he was like, well, I don't want to be weird, but I saw he commented on one of your Instagram photos. And he was like, and I went to his page, and so like I know what he looks like. And he was like, I saw him today at the pool making out with another girl. Um, and so that's why I was like, this is all so coincidental and like weird that you happen to know what my boyfriend looks like and you happen to see him at the pool. That at first, I wasn't sure if I should believe him.
Mm.
Um, so I sent Chris a text and I said, my friend saw you at the pool today, dot, 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 dot. And I just left it open ended because I was like, I'm going to let Chris fill in the blanks. And then he didn't answer that text for like an hour or two. And I was like, oh no. So then I followed up and I was like, are you not even going to say anything? And then he sent this whole long paragraph like, I'm so sorry. I just fell back to what I knew. I think you're amazing. But yeah, it was
Wow.
it was a whole mess the way I found out. And yeah, I think I was still kind of in shock. But to me, cheating is like a big deal breaker. Like we had talked about that in the pods, like what are your deal breakers? And I was like, I think like trust and loyalty is like the foundation of a relationship. So I was like, there's no coming back from this for me.
Yeah, of course. I do want to ask you more questions about this, but I also want to like build up to the cheating thing because I kind of want to start at the beginning. Um, so before we get into like the Love is Blind stuff, we have to clear the air on one thing, and I need you to answer honestly.
Okay.
Are you a Swifty?
Yes, but the thing is, like, I don't normally claim it because, like, I love her music. I loved her documentary, but, like, I don't know every song. I don't know, like, all the facts. So, like, I'm scared to claim it because I was like, someone's gonna be like, she can't be a true Swiftie, but, like, I love her. And I mean, I relate to her, you know, like the track record of maybe like not the best relationships and like just trying to find yourself and trying to trust like your own intuition. Like I relate to her a lot. So I've been, I guess, leaning into her music even more recently.
Since the show, yeah. Because people like speculating, being like, oh, the reunion dress is a nod to Taylor Swift.
I no, the reunion dress was just like my friend actually owns a boutique, and he was like, "Let me help you style a dress," and everyone was like, "Oh, you look like a like." People either love it or hate it. Like I feel like I've divided the internet on that dress. They're like, she looks like a Disney princess in a bad way, or like people like it. But I just wanted to do something like I like blue. I wanted to do something more classic and honestly, I wanted to do some other dresses, and production kept being like, that looks like a bridal gown. That looks not glam enough, but like, I'm a really casual person typically. So I was like, you can't even, you can probably see like walking in, I'm like trying to hold my dress up and like walk in heels because it's so not like how I normally dress.
I mean, to be fair, you could have been sat on that sofa with your titties out and your coochie out and your belly out, like some of the other cast members.
Yeah. I kept the titties within within the dress. But there were like so many beads that I was getting like stabbed. So the whole time I was just like trying not to look uncomfortable. But that's not like I'm a casual kind of wear person.
Well, like that suited me for today anyway. I was like, I'll match your energy.
Yeah.
Um, so just like let's starting with like around like sort of like the pod time.
Mhm.
I feel like let's just start with the incidents which spurred the whole sketchy as fuck comments. Um, when you were watching it back, like, could you see where the confusion was? Because it was a bit like you had said that Izzy reflected your former boyfriends, but you said that also Chris had.
Yes, watching it back was so hard because both things are true, but I was also like, oh, the public's going to be so confused. Because what my kind of like track record is so I have a history of dating people with addiction issues, and I think that's who I would say I typically have chemistry with. So I feel this pull toward people who I end up having these kind of unhealthy relationships with. But in between those relationships, what would happen is I would meet a nice guy and would be like, look, I don't have the feelings, but this is someone who appreciates me, they're kind to me. Isn't this what I should want? Isn't this what I should want? And I like kept trying to like push myself, I guess, into, I mean, now looking back, I guess it sounds harsh, but I guess I would settle in relationships where I didn't have the feelings because I appreciated that they were treating me well.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing is me struggling between, which I get incorrectly. I thought Chris was the nice guy I would be settling for, and I thought Izzy was someone I thought Izzy and I were a healthy relationship that I had chemistry with, and that's not the case. Like Izzy and I were very push-pull and like what I would say is like not a healthy dynamic. Oh my God, my puppies. I might have to stop them. Izzy and I were like push-pull and like not healthy, and Chris, I actually once Izzy into things with me. Oh my gosh, 1 second.
That's okay.
None of that. No. Sorry, I have two puppies and they get weirdly jealous when I am like on the phone with other people.
You would not be the first bitch to be getting jealous of me, honey.
I didn't say it, you did. um, But what you're saying is I thought Chris was going to be the nice guy I was settling for, and I thought Izzy was someone that would be a healthy relationship where there was chemistry, but it was just me getting it wrong again. Like, Izzy was my pattern. People saw how he treated me at the barbecue, so I don't think I really need to go there. But I definitely understand, like, watching it back, I was like, oh, this looks very conflicting, and like they didn't tell my full context of my relationship past. So I was like, I knew people were going to be confused, and yeah, I felt bad about it, but it's just I would say my relationship past isn't as like black and white. It's not like, yeah, I think people want to just group it into like, oh, you weren't telling the truth because you're saying to some people you're dating nice guys and some people your track record is people with addiction issues. And I was like, it was both. What I was trying to find was someone I had a healthy, compatible relationship with, but also have that crush feeling and chemistry with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. And I also get the going for the nice guy because you think it's going to be good for you, but you also can't fake a feeling of like butterflies if it just doesn't exist.
Yeah. So my relationship, my most recent relationship right before the show, I dated a guy who was my friend, who I still think this guy is a great guy. He treated me so well. We were like besties, but at the end of the day, I was like, I don't feel like, and I feel mean saying this, but I was like, I don't feel like I'm in love with him. I feel like this is a friendship, and I just kind of got locked into it because we do have good like banter and like he's there for me. But like we actually broke up because like I was honest with him and I was like, I just don't know that I'm like fully in love with you in that way. Like I love you as a friend. So for me, I think because that was my most recent relationship, I was afraid that's what I was falling into with Chris.
Yeah, I always think like I've been on dates with so many men where there's actually nothing wrong with them. Like I can't sit there and say like, oh, this is like a red flag in you or anything. But there's also nothing that is igniting that spark for me to be like, oh, actually, you are the one. Like,
Yeah, I was just so like, to me, I was so in my head at the time because I was like, does a person exist that will treat me well, be nice, be intelligent, like be dependable, and that I'll actually feel passion for? Or is like, or am I only ever gonna feel the passion in the relationships that are not healthy?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's pretty normal to be fair. Yes. Um,
I found
so
it but yeah.
yes, yes. Oh my God, we're going to talk about your man at the end as well. Like before you came on, we were all just saying how hot he is. Respectfully, respectfully.
Respectfully, the whole world can call him hot, and I'm cool with it.
Well, in that case, I would sit on his face,
God.
like 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 Rosa Parks refusing to get up.
I hope Alex is in the meeting right now, but I wish he was watching because he would probably be like, "Thank you."
Okay, so I wanted to ask you about like when you was at the barbecue, Izzy was like she said I love you 4 times. Was that true?
No, so I don't even honestly watching it back. I saw the clip of me the first day. Mind you, this is like a 15-minute date when it's like in one of the trailers, and I'm like, I love you, and I'm like, but when I'm saying I love you like that, like I don't mean I love you. I'm saying like I like the vibe you're giving off. Like I love you. Like so
Yeah,
for
I
me,
got
the
that.
fact that I was surprised he was even like I was counting because I told him at one point I was falling in love with him. But to me, that's a very different thing. Like I'm saying like I'm on the way there, but I never told him like toward the end of the process, like I love you. I was waiting until we chose each other to tell anyone that because I don't think you should just be throwing that around. But like, maybe I shouldn't even be so casual with my like, I love you. But like, to me, that's not, I don't know if people could tell, but like to me, I wasn't saying like I am in love with you, you know,
No,
like
I think I could tell at that point, it was the tone in
yeah,
which you'd said it. It was kind of obvious that it was just like okay, like you said, oh, I love the vibe that you're giving.
yeah, that's kind of what I meant. And like maybe I should have been more careful with my words. But whenever you said like you said you love me 4 times, I was like, what? I was caught off guard, honestly.
But he's not good at math anyway. Um, so obviously we need to talk about Stacey, but the kind of the impression that I got with you and Stacey, just from how I'd heard it told from both sides, the impression it seemed to me was that like you guys were sort of pally in the living space or whatever. Um, you you had said that she knew that you were building a connection with Izzy. She said that that part wasn't true and that she didn't know that.
Oh, that's yeah.
Because
So
it felt
how
like,
I
to me, like you were being open and honest, and she was also building a connection with him, but she was withholding that information.
yeah. So my whole thing is, I would say kind of what Stacy said, like, I don't think we were ever each other's cup of tea. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got not the best vibes from her from the beginning. But what happened, but I would say we were cordial with each other. Like, I didn't have anything where I was like, oh, she did this to me and I have an issue with her and vice versa. So, like, we're all in a group setting and I would say we were cordial. Everyone did know. So from day one, I was like very open about like Izzy is my strongest connection. And I think you can probably see it, but like any cast member will tell you, I was like, Izzy, 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 can't you see? Like I was literally like walking around the lounge like that, which misguided. But anyways, I was all in for Izzy, and what would happen was we would have these off periods between our dates. Like you wouldn't date all day. You would have one date and then a break, and like so during my breaks, it would always be me and Stacy in the lounge. So I'm the type of person where I want to bounce my thoughts and feelings off of someone else, which I don't think that's like right or wrong. Like maybe I should have kept to myself a little more, but I was bouncing all my thoughts and feelings off of Stacy, and she never told me that Izzy was her strongest connection. So that's why you see the clips, like it doesn't show those conversations. So like my comments look out of pocket, but like I was disclosing a lot of personal information to Stacy, even though we weren't that close because we were the only ones in the lounge. Like, so I do blame myself a little bit because I'm like, I could have just kept all that information in. But I did talk to her about things, and she never told me. I didn't find out toward the end of the process. I think Izzy was actually probably the first one who told me like Stacy's my number two, and that was toward the end of the process. And I was like, what the hell? I've been telling her everything that's happening on our dates. So that's why then I felt deceived.
Yeah, that was how I interpreted it.
Yeah, that's that's pretty much how it went. And then, I mean, you see me making like comments that I've already owned up to, I think are like a little petty, but like, I don't think I was the only one. Like, I know people were saying comments on both sides. Like, you just see me saying things without any of the context. So they look a little out of pocket, but like,
So I wanted to ask you about that because obviously the comments that she brought up at the reunion we saw, but then when she wrote her Instagram post, she said that you said that she's not hot.
oh my gosh. I am not that secure in my physical appearance, to be honest. Like, I do have confidence, but I get my confidence from keeping promises to myself. Like, it's in no way based off my physical appearance. So I would never, like, I don't think I'm hotter than anyone, you know?
Yeah.
But the comment she's talking about, what I think it was a game of telephone because I said I thought Izzy chose her because she said she was blonde.
Right.
So this is like, you don't see any of this, but there were conversations between, like that conversation when I'm talking to all the girls, I said, Izzy found out she was blonde and I was brunette, and then I got cut. So to me, it felt very much like I thought he was choosing her based off her appearance, which wasn't what this process was about. So I did comment on, like, I guess if you could generally say I commented on her appearance because I said she was blonde, but if anything, I was saying, like, I think he's picking her for superficial reasons, not, I don't think she's attractive, or like, I'm not going to cut anyone down for their appearance because that's not who I am as a person.
Yeah, well, that was kind of my issue with like the statement that she'd put out. I thought, okay, well, you're hearing it. You're not hearing it firsthand. You're hearing it through other people. But in that little slideshow of the comments, she had tagged other people like Taylor and Renee, for example, who were the girls that were like comforting you. Do
So
you
I
feel like
don't know.
they threw you under the bus?
No, so I don't want to speak for other people, but I will say confidentially, or like just without naming people, multiple people have personally texted me since Stacy issued that statement and said, I did not consent to having my name tagged in this. I said I was okay. They were like, Stacy came to me and asked if I was okay with her airing her side of the story. And they said, of course, I support anyone telling their side of the story. Like, you do you, I support you. They did not know that they were going to be tagged in a post where it makes it seem like they agree with her opinions.
Yeah, that they sided with her. Yeah.
I can't speak for all of them, but I can say two of them at minimum came to me and said, I don't agree with this. I love you. I'm not taking sides. I don't appreciate being tagged in this. So I don't think that was just Stacy's own prerogative. And, what can I do?
Yeah, she was trying to build an army to support her argument, but
Well,
she needed one.
that's something I learned off TikTok through all this is the invisible army argument. Have you seen that? It's like,
No, tell me.
so I saw this TikTok and it was like, it was talking about something from Love is Blind, but it's called the invisible army argument. And you pretend like you have a bunch of people backing you because you think it makes your side of the story seem more legit. So when I saw her do that, I'm like, oh, Stacy and her invisible army again. Like, everyone hates me. Like, I'm not falling for it anymore.
No, and also what was funny was that she was reposting stories that were sticking up for her, and there was like two of them. It was like when you had people actually sticking up for you, like where are the rest of the stories? But
Yeah, I really was trying to stay out of it because this is all a year and a half ago. Like, I don't want Izzy, you don't want Izzy, I'm not dating anyone from the show. Like, why is this still a thing? I don't get it. So,
yeah, exactly. So was there anything that like when you were watching it that like had got cut and you were like, oh, like I thought they would have aired that, or like I wish they'd have aired that?
um, I think just the kind of the stuff I was touching on before, like I think they left out a lot of my context and my backstory. So when you see me talking about my relationships, it looks conflicting, and that's probably like why they did it. I don't get the impression they wanted me to be very likable, but that's neither here nor there. And then again, the stuff of me divulging all my dates to Stacy, I think they left that out on purpose, because then when it shows me calling her deceitful, it looks like, I don't know, it looks like that's coming out of nowhere maybe, but I'm like, well, yeah, you didn't show our relationship, like you picked up on, they didn't show me and Stacy's relationship in the lounge at all. So at our relationship, it just looks like I'm coming at her for no reason.
I don't think it did, I think we all got the mean girl impressions, and that's why so many people sided with you, I think. I know there was a bit of half and half, but I think a lot of the things that I saw were positive towards you.
Thank you. I mean, I appreciate it. I'm not like encouraging people to take sides. I guess the last thing that I would like to say on the Stacy thing is that she's never tried to talk to me privately. Not once, not a single time. She never said, hey, like, I heard these rumors. Is this true? What did you say about me? Like, I don't think she wanted to be friends with me. I feel like she's like, just, I don't know. It's almost always been a competition. So, yeah, I feel like if she wanted to have that conversation, she could have had it privately or at the reunion, but she didn't. And then she posted that post on Instagram, and I was just like, of course.
Yeah.
Can't just let me live my life, but yeah.
Well, I know you are probably like bored to death of talking about her, but I do have like a couple more questions on her. Just like jumping forward to like the barbecue, right? When she came for you, there was like so much emotion in that. Like we were all like, why is she so mad? Do you think it was literally that, you know, you had said a couple of like petty things, or do you think there was something a bit deeper to it, which was that, you know, she was perhaps jealous of the connection that you had with Izzy?
So all I'll say is I would not have gone to that barbecue if I knew what it was going to be. To be clear, I thought, because with the Izzy situation, which we did talk for a little bit after the show, and I can address that later, but like once things happened in the pods, it was like blinders falling off, and I was not interested in Izzy anymore. No offense, Izzy, if you see this, but I knew we weren't compatible. So I was all in for Chris, and so I kind of thought the like feud between me and Stacy would be over because we're not going after the same man.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, Chris and I are going to go back. It's going to be cordial and maybe a little awkward, but we'll just wish them well. And like, I'll talk to my other friends that are there. And then I walked in, and after having that conversation with Izzy, I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So
did you feel like Chris was like wholeheartedly defending you? Because
no.
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 No, you were doing most of the heavy lifting for sure.
Yeah. I appreciated that he tried, but I'm like, why are you still saying you and Izzy are cool? Like, why are you saying you don't know Stacy, so you're not going to have an opinion? I'm like, these people are sitting here, like, I generalized it, but I'm like, basically telling me I'm not a good person. And so this is awkward, but my boyfriend now has had to watch it back, and he was like, I would have stood up and been like, stop, back the fuck off. Like, yeah, I don't want to drag him into this, but like, I do think Chris could have defended me a little more. And that night he actually left the barbecue without me. And so like, I had an interview that night after the barbecue, like crying and like just very emotionally broken down, because both those conversations with Izzy and Stacy had happened within like 30 minutes to an hour of each other. So of course, like, I was feeling, my self-worth was like not at its highest. Like, I was feeling pretty down on myself, and he wasn't there. So that should have been the first red flag, but obviously everyone knows now we fell apart like not long after that. So
What was the timeline from the barbecue to when when you discovered that he was seeing someone else?
a week and a half.
What, a week and a half?
Yeah, so I actually, like, looking back, I realized I never actually saw Chris again after the barbecue. So part of me does wonder if Izzy and Stacy got in his head. But yeah, so that was on a Wednesday, that barbecue. Like, I went to work like normal, and then that barbecue, and I went to the work the next day, and I'm like, none of these people know that I just had my like entire self-worth like shredded in an evening, and I'm just trying to like review contracts now. Oh, it was the worst. But anyways, so I go back to work. Like I said on the reunion, that weekend was my birthday. And Chris had already had plans to be out of state for a wedding. So I was like, okay, it's a little weird that he's not going to be here, but also, shouldn't he invite me to the wedding? Like, even if it's just like I know you can't make it, like, I'm still going to invite you. And I know you're going to have to say no, but like, I never even got an invite. So that was like the first red flag. I guess I should take a step back. I called him the day after the barbecue. And I was like, are we good? Like, I'm so sorry about all that. Like, I hope you know, like, what they were saying isn't true about me. And he was like, no, we're good. We're good. Like, I know who you are. Like, we're past what happened in the pods. Like, we're good. So I kept thinking we were good. Then that weekend he goes to the wedding. Then the next week, I get various excuses for why he can't see me. And then the following Saturday is when my friend tells me he was at the pool making out with another girl. And I was just like, okay, I can't take any more, like, probably the worst one of the, I mean, one of the worst times in my life for sure, those couple of weeks.
So obviously now, like there is a lot of speculation about whether Chris was dating that girl the whole time, because I don't know if you've seen this, but there are photos of them together beforehand, like, you know, because they work in similar industries.
Yes. So this is, again, nothing's ever cut and dry. Chris was, okay. I'll tell you what Chris told me because that's all I know. He told me when we got back, he was like, is there anyone I need to be concerned about? Like, were you dating anyone before the show? And I was like, no. I was going on the show to find my husband. I was like, they do tell you, like, lead a double track life, like, because you don't know if you'll be on the show. So keep dating, keep trying to live your life. So I don't think a lot of people know that. Like, we don't know till very shortly before that we're going to be on it. So he was like, were you dating? Did you find, like, were you with anyone? And I was like, no. And he was like, okay, well, there was this girl I was seeing before the show, but she didn't want a relationship. I'm very commitment oriented. That's why I went to do the show. Like, I wanted to find someone, like, I want a wife. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like, I'd actually seen, she had commented on some of his stuff when we were filming. Like, I came back and looked at his Instagram and she was like, I miss you, come back to me. And I was like,
Oh, she knew that he was on a TV show, and then all of a sudden she wanted a little bit of commitment.
yeah,
I see how it works.
yeah.
You gotta
So,
watch out for them veterinarians.
so we came, I mean, I'll never know, but like we came back, I think people know we met at the airport. We actually did have a very strong connection. Like, I was in love with Chris at that time. I like to think he was in love with me. But then, yeah, this girl he knew better and had been seeing for a while was now saying, like, oh, I want you. And with me, I think he had questions because I had put him second. So, like, I actually, like, I still can't hate Chris because I think he was, like, very confused. But I do know he was dating her before that he came back, and now they're together to this day. So part of me will always question, like, what the intentions were.
Yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to go back a little bit and ask you about just after the barbecue, when you were watching it back, what did you think when Izzy said that, like, he was getting turned on watching Stacy insult you?
Um, Obviously that was one of the parts I didn't know about because it happened in their own like private apartment, and I was just like, ew, like that's the only response you can have. I do know, like, has said since, like, oh, I just liked that Stacy was standing up for herself. Like, I didn't like that she was cutting Johnny down. But I mean, it wasn't fun to see, and yeah, I didn't like it at all, but I don't know what else to say about it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. And again, I want you to be like completely honest. Did you laugh when he was crying in the cupboard?
Um, oh, Alex is on. Hi, Alex. Love you. Um, okay. Look, me and Izzy like me and Izzy are like cordial, but it's not the fact he was crying in the cupboard. It's the look on his face when he's emerging.
It was the half standing up, half on the floor.
It's the emergence that made me laugh. Like, I don't, like, even to this day, like, I don't wish anything like bad upon Izzy. Like, I don't think he's tried to apologize for what happened at the barbecue, but yeah, I didn't realize. He actually told me about that afterwards. He was like, I was crying and like I didn't feel like anyone was like supporting me, but yeah.
What did you mean by anyone? You mean his girlfriend, his fiance?
I'm not gonna
But
say.
no, I just know that when they got home from filming that day, the crew were just like, "Oh, we got the shot. We got the shot."
That was all one day, that barbecue. I feel like it was like 3 episodes. They were like, yeah, we got all the drama and all we needed for the entire season in one like 5 hour span. It was a lot.
Right. So I'm going to move on to like I'm obviously aware of like timing and stuff that we have left. I want to move forward to like the reunion. But I did just want to ask you like what were you thinking when you saw their wedding? Were you expecting them to get married or you know?
Um, so it doesn't show, but after the barbecue, they interviewed me and they were like, why do you think they came at you so hard? And I was like, the only thing I can assume is that they're fighting. I was like, because I don't know why, like, if they're in a happy, loving relationship, they felt the need to, like, have these little arguments with me.
Yeah.
So after that day, I was like, I mean, you saw me, my comments in the lounge early on were like, I don't think they're compatible. Like, I didn't say it in the most, like, calm way. So people were like, that's petty. But I didn't think they were compatible then from what I knew of Izzy in the pods and Stacy in the lounge. Then the barbecue happened and I was like, well, I'm assuming they're fighting. So like, no, I wasn't that surprised that they didn't get married, to be honest.
Right, okay. And how did like the kiss with Izzy come about after he had treated you like that at the barbecue? Because everybody is like, why did she kiss him? They're like, we love her, but why?
I think like I wish people had a little bit more like grace for me at the time because you have to realize like my self-esteem was down. Like after going through that process, feeling bad that I didn't put Chris first, going to the barbecue, having Izzy and Stacy tell me I'm a bad person, and then Chris cheating on me, I was like, I was really being like, am I the problem? Like, am I a terrible person? And so whenever I met Izzy, like the week of his wedding, like he said no on Sunday, and then that Saturday was when we ran into each other at the bar, and he asked to speak to me. For one, he came up to me and I was like, oh no, here we go.
Days after the wedding.
Oh yeah. He said his last date with Stacy was the day before. So we meet on that Saturday. I'm out with Aaliyah actually, and then some people are out for like Jared, this other guy, not the same Jared, there's another Jared. Anyways, a bunch of the cast is out. Izzy came up to me and he was like, can we talk? And I was like, here we go again. Like, I'm gonna get berated.
Yeah.
But then we go outside and he's actually really nice. And he's like, I just want to discuss things and get a sense of who you are as a person. And like, we have a reasonable conversation. And like 10 minutes in, he's like, oh, like you're clearly not sketchy. I was just listening to rumors. And so one, I think I lead with forgiveness. So I was like really quick to forgive him. And then two, I think the part of my self-esteem that was low at the time felt better that he could see I wasn't a terrible person, which maybe isn't like the best reason, but like my confidence was low and I'm like questioning my own self-worth and I'm like, oh, this person who was saying these things to me a few weeks ago now can see my true character. And I think I was like, maybe I should give him another shot.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Can you like rate the kiss? Was it a good kiss?
So we didn't kiss that night. I will
Oh,
say he
you
was
didn't kiss
trying.
that.
No, he was trying and I was like, ugh, ugh.
Wait, so when did you kiss?
So we hung out. So that was the first night we like, I would call it like making up, I guess. We were on good terms, but I was still like, I don't know. So then it was kind of like him being like, well, give me a shot. So then like, we never planned an actual date. Like we would just like, if I would go out to the bar or like he would be doing something, we would kind of meet up out, if that makes sense, which is why I was like, it was a very casual thing. But like, after a couple times of hangouts, like very casual hangouts, like he offered to take me home one night and we made out in his Jeep. But then we actually ended things that same night because we started fighting right after that. So, yeah.
Hey, what were you fighting about?
He wanted me to move on because I didn't trust him because of the things that happened from the show. I was like, we need to build, like, you just told me 3 weeks ago that I'm sketchy as fuck, like, and you almost just got married to someone else, and like, we need to build trust back, or like a foundation. And he was very much like, I want to move on. I don't want to discuss this. Can we just live life outside of the show? And I'm like, I kind of understood his perspective, but I was also like, well, our whole foundation is based off the show. Like, what else am I supposed to do? But the fight started like that, but then it was just like fighting to fight. And that's when I was like, nope, this definitely is my pattern and I don't want to do this.
Yeah. Also, like, was it definitely his Jeep? Because we know about the credit score, honey. I feel like it was borrowed. It was borrowed.
Owned it. I don't know. I can't speak to that.
I'd been like, show me the car deeds.
Do you have the title of this car? No, I'm just kidding.
So at the reunion, obviously, I thought it was just absolutely iconic behavior, how you were so unbothered that like Stacey is basically like laying into you again for like the third or the fourth time, whatever. And you were just like, yeah, okay, like we're gonna have you say what you want, girl, like we're just gonna have our own conversation.
Yeah.
And it was part of it was subtitled, so we caught bits of it. But like, what were you guys actually saying? Because it looked like you were apologizing to him.
Yeah, so I guess I should start from before Chris and I walk on stage. We're backstage, and this is the first time we've seen each other in a year and a half. Like, I haven't talked to him, like, seen him since I found out about the cheating. So, like, we're both just like, you know, like, but I turned to him and I said, I feel like I'm walking into the lion's den again. Like, because I know what happened last time, and I was. To be honest, like, I don't know if you can see it, but I was very scared. I didn't want to go through that again, but I was just trying to, like, these people's opinions don't matter, you know?
Yeah.
So we get out there, and Stacy, like, starts her monologue, and I think Chris could tell. So there's two parts to this. Sorry. Yeah, Stacy starts her PR monologue, like, she's not my cup of tea, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're not mine either. Where's this going? But anyways, there's two parts. One, Chris knew I was uncomfortable, and so he said, I don't know if it shows, he said, are you okay? Which is actually, like, very kind, and I think he was trying to distract me because he saw it going in the same direction as the barbecue. And he said, are you okay? And in that moment, when I respond to him, I'm battling with, one, Stacy coming at me again, and two, I actually felt really guilty about, like, outing Chris, if that makes sense. Because I've always said I do think he's a nice person. I think he made a mistake. So he's like, are you okay? And I was like, I'm so sorry. Because in that moment, I felt really bad about telling the world that he had cheated on me, because I just kind of labeled him for the world, and I think that's really sad in a way. So he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And you can see he's like, you told your truth, it's okay, which was very kind of him. And so we're having that moment, and the whole time Stacy's talking, and I'm just distracted because I'm like, I need to, like, apologize that I just outed this guy. And then he goes like, oh, I didn't hear what Stacy was saying. And I say, it doesn't matter. Because I knew the gist of it. I'm like, I knew the spark notes in my head. I'm like, she's saying that she doesn't like me and that she doesn't agree with what I did. Like, my response is going to be the same. I don't need to hear her tell me I'm a crappy person again, you know?
Yeah, like we've read the synopsis 2 or 3 times before, honey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't, obviously it sounds like you have a lot of like compassion for him. Some people online have said like, oh, he was just playing the long game to hurt you back for how you hurt him in the pods. I personally don't think I believe that. I think it's more likely that he like was still seeing this girl the entire time. We don't really know, but
are you asking me my opinion on that? I
yeah.
think I kind of hit on it. Part of like the weird thing is like I don't feel like I can ever hate Chris. Like I understand him really well. I think we're very similar. I think we like I don't know, we're very similar. So I think he was having a lot of anxiety about what happened on the show. I think he didn't know if he could trust me, which is why like you see me saying like I'm trying to make things up to him. Like I felt bad about not putting him first. But I do think he had this other woman from before the show that he's like, well, I know her a little better, and at least it feels like this might be more legitimate than what it is with Johnie, even though I had really strong feelings for him. But yeah, I guess I would sum it up as I don't think Chris is a bad person. I think he made a mistake. For me, that mistake was just a deal breaker because, yeah, I was like, there's no coming back from that. So I forgive him. We can move on. Like, I hope everyone will cut him a break. I think he's a nice guy.
So just one more quick question on that. And then I want to ask you like about a couple of the other cast members, and then I want to play like a really quick game of Would You Rather before I let you get on with your life. When after you guys like met up at the airport and you guys started dating, between then and the barbecue, what was your relationship like then? Like were you guys seeing each other a lot?
Not as much as I would have wanted.
Right.
Which is actually, well, now it's like a red flag, but I would say we were seeing each other like once or twice a week. But I'm like, we just went from like, in both of our opinions, almost getting engaged, even though you don't see it. Like, Chris and I dated the whole time too. Like, I think I broke up with Chris the day before Izzy and I ended. So like, I was like, we were both like this close to getting engaged. So I was like, I guess I had expected almost like the process to continue, and we were seeing each other like once or twice a week. Like I think if you've seen, like I have pictures of us like going out on dates. We had a pool party with some of the other cast members, but actually the day I called him after the barbecue, that's what I said to him. I said like, are we good? And he said yes. I was like, okay, well, I feel like we should integrate our lives a little more, because like that's what I'm looking for, is like to progress in this relationship and to feel, I think maybe in the back of my head I was feeling like we weren't integrating and progressing, and I just didn't realize it until, yeah, well, I mean, it was probably hard to date both of us at once, so it's kind of no wonder we weren't integrating, but
That
yeah,
part.
yeah.
Okay, so what do you think on the whole, like Lydia Uche situation? Like, because, you know, 1 minute it is Lydia was stalking my friends on Instagram, then she like read an email, she was going through my stuff, she 100% followed me on the show. Then it's, oh, like we had a conversation about it. And then it was like, you know, the producers said that they spoke to them and they didn't want to date each other, but Lydia had said we should
Yeah.
maybe give it a shot, you know.
So I think the whole, like, I think you see me at the barbecue. I'm like, I'm confused because I was hearing three separate stories from Lydia, Uche, and Aaliyah. And I don't have an opinion as to what the truth is. Like, I don't know enough about the facts. All I can say is I've gotten to know the people better, and Aaliyah is very honest and genuine. And I trust her. And I'm going to take what Aaliyah says to the grave. So she wasn't comfortable with the situation, and I applaud her for, you know, doing what's best for her. But I don't even know, like, I don't think anyone will ever know whether Lydia and Uche planned it, whether production planned it, whatever. I just think the whole situation's a mess, and I don't have receipts on any of it. So
Yeah. A few people in the comments are asking about Renee. Just to let you guys know, like I'm going live with Renee in an hour. So if you want the tea with Renee, just come back in an hour and you'll get it from, I don't want to say the horse's mouth because it sounds like I'm calling her a horse, but you know what I mean. Okay, so final final couple of questions and then we're going to play Would You Rather really quickly. What are your thoughts on the situation with JP and Taylor, and do you think he was at the January 6th Capitol riot?
Oh my gosh. I also like I didn't see a lot of their relationship like during or after filming, so I don't feel comfortable, I guess, commenting on it. I'll just say I cut JP the first day. I'll just leave it at that. He told me he was a firefighter and that he was in a calendar, and I was like, what does that mean? Like, are you telling me you're hot? And I was just like, that's not what this is about. Scratch. So that was my experience. So
Well, to be honest, at least you were getting some conversation, I guess.
yeah, he responded to my questions from what I can remember. Didn't make it past the first day, so I don't really know him that well.
So, last question. Last question on this. Who was the hero of season 5?
Oh my God. Who was the hero of season 5? None of us. I'm like, it's such a mess. I don't think any of us came out of there unscathed, you know. But I mean, that's real life. Like, I kind of hate the whole hero villain mentality. Like, people think people are all good or all bad, and like, I don't think that's how it works, you know? I'm a whole person and I make mistakes, but I like to think I'm a good person, you know? Who came out the best? Taylor probably came out the best though, because she came out unscathed
I agree with that.
with JP, but Taylor's a very sweet girl, so I wish her all the best.
I also think she handled the situation really well.
Yeah, she tried. She tried,
Yeah.
and I mean, like, what are you gonna do if he's not even willing to have a conversation with you? Like, that is awkward. And you have cameras in the room, and you're like, "Hi, like, will you at least tell me you don't like me so we can make a decision?" Or, you know?
Yeah, like you were literally getting more conversation talking to a wall.
Yeah.
And then you got less from a person in real life. Okay, so I'm just going to do like a really quick Would You Rather based on this season. There is no fence sitting in this game, so you have to pick an answer, I'm afraid.
Okay, we'll see. I'm a lawyer. Just kidding.
Would you rather have Izzy's kitchenware for the rest of your life
Okay.
or have Stacy do your makeup on your wedding day?
Izzy's kitchenware.
Bet.
Like this side.
Oh no, honey, even if she tried to do it nice, you'd still be looking like a fucking clown. Respectfully. You'd have like a blush up to the back of your neck. Um,
I'm not
okay. Would you rather have Lydia be your boyfriend's ex or Uche be his best friend?
Lydia be the ex.
Yeah, okay, fair. Would you rather have a husband that keeps a one-night stand trophy drawer
Okay.
or a husband that hates you wearing makeup?
Probably that hates me wearing makeup. Like I at least he thinks I'm naturally pretty. I'm not agreeing with the things, but like if he doesn't
Yeah.
throw away the trophies, at least when we start dating, I'm gonna be like, And my boyfriend would never do that kind of thing. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah. Okay, that was the end of the Would You Rather. So you survived. Well done.
Okay, thank you. That was not that hard, actually.
Yeah, do you know what? Literally 5 minutes before the live started, I was like, let's do it. No, thank you so much for joining me. Like, I literally had so much fun talking to you. You were my favorite in the show. You were just as sweet on the live as I thought you were initially, you know?
No, I appreciate it. And like, I wanted to talk to you because, like I said, you've been so supportive, and I feel like you saw through some of the bullshit to like my real character, even when a lot of people weren't liking me so much. So, like, I appreciate you so much and appreciate you having me on. And yeah.
Of course, well, it's been a busy live. Like the comments were going off. And also, yeah, guys, if you want to see me chat to Renee, I will be back in 1 hour at 10 p.m. UK, 4 p.m. CST.
Yes,
Yeah,
for Central Time. Yeah, go
yeah,
watch Renee. She's great.
yeah, perfect. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Nice speaking with you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.